today we have somebody who we haven't had in a long time.
Back in the Old Testament.
Glad to have you. He hasn't come since Genesis, and so he's here. We're about to finish up reading Ephesians today, Ephesians chapter 1. It's actually 6 chapters. We're going to be in chapters 1 through 5. And just like a little pre-note of what we're doing is we're trying to read 5 chapters a day for 100 days, reading almost half of our Bible. And so it's something that we're calling the Ultra. It's hard. As you know, if you've made it this far, I hope you have grown tremendously. But more importantly, if you're coming on new, or maybe you're just picking up today, don't be discouraged. Hey, start where we are right now and finish strong, finish out throughout the rest of our a challenge. So today we're in Ephesians 1 through Ephesians 5, and Ephesians is a pretty cool letter. I'll kind of give you some trivia. Do you know who Ephesians was written by?
Paul?
It was written by Paul, and many people think he was writing to the church of if it's Ephesians, Ephesus. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. And so in the Bible you have several like prison letters, they call it.
While he's in jail.
And while he was in jail. Yeah. And they actually think that Ephesians was one of those prison letters, and they actually think, like, so if you tie up Acts 16, which, you know, I wrote Midnight Worship kind of around that, but they actually think that he went to the Philippi jail, and in that jail cell would have been the time that he penned the Ephesian letter. So if you look at Ephesians, it's penned to 6 different chapters. The first 3 talk about something that we call orthodoxy. Does that word ring a bell? You know what orthodoxy is? Orthodoxy is the right belief. So if that makes any sense. So the right belief. And then orthopraxy would be the right, and then praxy, if you're like studying dental work, or like it would be like practice.
Okay.
Practice. So the right practice. So the first 3 chapters are the right beliefs, and the last 3 chapters are the right practice. And so I think that's really cool that it's broken up, because what Paul is going to say is, hey, this is who you are. That's chapters 1 through 3. This is who you are. This is who you are.
Apply yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And like build this beautiful bridge of this is who you are in Christ. And then once he builds that, he takes the latter 3 chapters and says, okay, now that I've told you who you are, here's what you should do. And it kind of gets that in my mind, the right perspective for us, that we are built up. Number 1, this is who we are in God's sight, and then we are told what to do, and it really makes it in the right order in my estimation. So who you are, what you do. Ephesians chapter 1 through 3, and then 4 through 6 is about orthopraxy, which I believe is kind of where you fell in this. If you want to kind of share with us what you got.
Yeah, so chapter 4, like if I'm going to read the first 3 verses of chapter 4, and I'm coming out of NLT. It says, "Therefore I, as a prisoner for serving the Lord, beg you to lead a life worthy of your calling, for you have been called by God. Always be humble and gentle. Be patient with each other, making allowance for each other's faults because of your love. Make every effort to keep yourselves united in the Spirit, binding yourselves together with peace." And you know, as I read through that, I think about the attributes here, and you know, maybe you have some of those attributes and you want to continue to do them, or it also is making you maybe realize, you know, what attributes do we need to work on, and like how do we plan to do that. And then as you continue reading through chapter 4, when you hit verse 17, and I'm not going to read all of them, but as you read verses 17 through 31, it is essentially, you know, you could go through there and like underline some negative behaviors that I've done here in my Bible, like hopelessly confused, darkness, wanderer, harden their heart, shame, lustful, impurity, deception. And as you kind of read through those, kind of what I get from that is these negative behaviors that are listed here. Do you have any of those negative behaviors that you need to overcome? And it kind
Where's
of
that? What verses?
Verses 17 through 31. They kind of just blend it all through there.
Okay, yeah.
And it kind of just giving you some practicality, and I guess that kind of, you know, hits on what Drake says, the practice part of it. You know, if you have any of these bad habits, do you need to overcome them? And so as I read through that chapter, it really just kind of stuck out to me of those 5 chapters, because it's really a chapter that we could really, that's applicable, that we could apply in our day-to-day walk with Christ.
One of the things that I really got is verse 29, if you see that. It says, don't use foul or abusive language. People always used to tell me, like, Drake, is it a sin to cuss? It is a sin to cuss, you know. And it's like, is it? What do you mean? Well, cuss words were created by men. They're just four little words. They don't even really mean anything. It's the heart behind it, and I get that. I mean, I really do. Like that's fair enough. It's just, but I think it's the heart behind the word. That's why Jesus says, "Out of the mouth, the heart speaks." So when somebody would ask me that, is this sin to cuss? I would say, "Well, how long do you have?" And I would always start because we could. Their implication was that there's nowhere in the Bible that says it's wrong to say a cuss word. And I was like, if you have all day, we can sit all day talking about different scriptures. But the first one I would always go to, and I just had it, is don't use foul or abusive language. Let everything that you say be uplifting to those who are around you. And I think that's such a good positive thing, is that like, hello, don't use foul language. And so it doesn't just have to be curse words. It can be anything. But Blake, thank you so much for coming. And Ephesians, I will say, Ephesians is one of the best books in the Bible. Yeah. And we did, I don't know if there's been a book of the Bible that we've done so far where we've done such an unjust, there's so much in this one book. There's so much in the armor of God, who we are in Christ. There's so much there. Yep. And so we only have, 5 minutes to talk. So it was hard today. But hopefully you got something out of this. And hopefully when you read Ephesians this week or today, or whenever you read it, hopefully it really stuck out to you as it stuck out to both of us. And so Blake, super glad to have you. Thanks again for coming, and maybe
show back up.
Yeah, maybe we'll see you again. And so anyways, until next time, peace out. Everybody.